tomorrow morning when I get up, like I'm gonna be wanting to come to the ballpark, and that's part of it, and that's a good part of it. But at the same time, too, like I want the Phillies to be the best organization in baseball, and I want the Phillies to win some more World Series, and I'll definitely, wherever I go and what I'll do, I'll be keeping up with them.
That, of course, was former Phillies manager Charlie Manuel, who absolutely grew on this city in more ways than one. Last week, the Phillies decided, you know what? We have 42 games left. Let's let Charlie go. Ludicrous?
Very ludicrous. In fact, I've been asking all week on the radio program, what message are the Phillies sending you? Please let me know. Because I don't know what Ruben Amaro Jr. is telling us right now. If he's saying that on one second he's looking towards the future, and then he's re-signing old guys and Rollins and Utley and looking at Doc, and then all of a sudden unceremoniously letting go Charlie with 42 games left. If he means that much to you and you're going to cry and reduce to tears at your press conference,
right,
then why not give him at least the weekend to get the send-off to the fans? And look, this is the Phil's team giving him this 1,000th base as their 1,000th win, which happened to be his last victory in the major leagues. So fire him on a 2:30. What is this, Washington, D.C.? Get ahead of the weekend?
Yeah, and the thing was, the day they fired him was last Friday.
Right.
That was the day they're actually going to honor Charlie in front of the fans. How do you fire a guy the day you're actually going to honor him for winning his 1,000 game? I mean, at least he had that moment with his players. He was very emotional in the locker room.
Charlie's an emotional guy.
Yeah, sure.
But the way I look at it is this. Fred Shiro, Dallas Green, Billy Cunningham,
right,
Charlie Manuel. It's a very, very elite fraternity in Philadelphia. I don't care what you say about Charlie Manuel's strategy or the way he manages this game. You don't get to 780 by accident. You don't get to 1,000 by accident. And whatever happened with Brad Lidge or all those players to win a championship, he still was the guy that pushed all the buttons and has that ring. And they'll always remember this is for Philadelphia.
Yeah, and you know what? He should have been afforded that opportunity
to
finish out the year and say goodbye to the fans, just like some of those other guys.
No one's saying it wasn't the right move to get rid of him, but end of the year.
Right, with 42 games left. I mean, what difference does it make? Now, listen, now, with the Charlie out, that means they had to name somebody the manager. So the interim manager at this point is Ryne Sandberg. We're going to listen to a soundbite first and then get your reaction coming out on the other end. Here's Ryne Sandberg.
My main job will be to remind the players that they are major league players. They're getting paid very well, and they have a job to play out the 42 games because they're meaningful games for themselves, for their careers, and for the future leading towards next year.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to more of those press conferences. I've got to tell you that. Listen, nothing against Ryne Sandberg. He's a Hall of Fame second baseman. His baseball acumen, I'm sure, is at a high level. He's managed in the minor leagues at AAA Iowa for the Phillies organization. But if he was so good, why is Dale Swaim a manager in Chicago? Why did the Cubs, who he was an icon there, let him go to other pastures?
Well, some people said that, but when he was a player, he wasn't very vocal. He wasn't a guy who would talk a lot. And apparently, through his managerial days, he's learned to be a little bit more open and communicate with people. That's why I know that.
You're not paying your manager to say, hey, you're making $4 million, you're a Major League Baseball player.
I know.
If they don't know that before they get into that dugout, then they shouldn't be wearing pinstripes.
Right. Well, that's like saying that Eagles football players should know how to tackle.
Right.
But anyway, that's a whole different
That doesn't happen.
But my point is that he's been put in a tough spot.
Let me give you a name.
Throw me a name.
Mike Scioscia.
Mike Scioscia.
Over 1,000 wins. 3-time World Series champion, 1-time winner
Local
as
guy
a
too,
manager.
Right?
Local guy, has ties to the area. Some people say 4 decades ago he's going to be unceremoniously fired from the Angels this offseason.
Well,
he's a better choice.
There's a rumor floating around that Larry Bowa, because of his ties to Ryne Sandberg, could be back in the dugout next year for the Phillies. But we'll save that for another show because I want you to come back. But we're going to move on, though, because he wasn't, of course, Sandberg not the only new coach or skipper named this week. The Philadelphia 76ers finally announced their new skipper 4 months after the departure of Doug Collins. The 76ers have hired 52-year-old San Antonio assistant Brett Brown, who had been an assistant to Spurs coach Greg Popovich since 2002. Your thoughts on the...
Well, first of all, it's going to take me a long time to get around that Boston accent right
now.
Oh,
hey.
But I will say, I'll stop New Hampshire. I will say this, though. If you are going to be successful, you surround yourself with successful people. He has been part of all 3 Spurs titles. He's been probably widely regarded, Greg Popovich, one of the best coaches in the NBA. Game 6 notwithstanding of this year's finals. But, comes from a good organization, has coaching experience with, like you said, Australia. I don't think it should have took 6 months to get it done,
Right.
but it's a step in the right direction. I like what Sam Hinkie's doing. It's not going to be popular. It's going to be a while, but this is how you get better in the NBA.
So you like what Sam Hinkie's doing, but what about Sixers ownership and what they did recently to really upset the Philadelphia fan base? You and I are on the same wavelength of this, but we're talking about Josh, the
Joshua
owner,
Harris.
Joshua, buying the New Jersey Devils. Your thoughts on this?
It doesn't really make a difference to me. I mean, I've had some other opinions on
Sure.
it, but it's business to me. And if you think they're going to let Joshua Harris, who's been an owner for 1 year in Philadelphia, this is not Syracuse. This is not
Right.
the 60s. They are not going to move the Philadelphia 76ers out of there. And by the way, let you in a little bit of secret here. Comcast Spectacular manages that building up in New Jersey. They're very happy. Now they have a good ownership group up there to make them some money again. No problems. Maybe the devil would turn into the
And the only reason I ask you this question because you know it's the conspiracy, the theorist is that he's going to move the Sixers up to Jersey or move everybody to Seattle, but that's
a
not
bad
going to
thing?
happen.
No, he's not going to move.
But listen,
Philadelphia, basketball's an institution. I know it happened before. It's never going to happen this day and age. There's way too much money, way big of a fan base. It'll never happen. Joshua Harris there's been guys that have owned different teams. Jack Kent Cook, all kinds of owners have owned multiple teams in different sports.
well, listen, here's what I have to say to you, Mr. Startari, B-Star, if you will.
thank
I
you,
want to
sir.
thank you very much for joining us today on the show because you've offered some great insight. It's always great to have somebody else's opinion other than mine because most people don't listen to me anyway. So, thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being
Phil.
a colleague.
Appreciate
And I
it.
want to have you come back down the road, maybe midway through the football season.
Absolutely.
We'll see how the Eagles are doing. With that said, where can people hear you?
This week, you can hear me on 97.5 The Fanatic on Thursday night and also on Sunday, 4 to 8, this football season, Eagles postgame as well with Phil from Mount Airy. So,
Not Phil from North Wales.
no, Phil from Mount Airy.
That would be me.
There's only one.
All right, Brian Startari, thank you very much.
got it,
Listen, thanks. When we come back, we're going to check in on Penn State Nittany Lions for giving back to their community. And look at that, muscles popping all over the place. A little tug of war. We'll explain what this video is about when we come back.